We're good? Okay. So the first half of it is like we have to split into like groups, but since there's only a group of 3 of us, it's just going to be you two like working together, I guess. And so the first question is,
Wait, okay. How many people are in like a normal group?
I think
like
it's 6.
What?
I know.
I feel like these doohickey papers are gonna be anyway. I feel like it's a lot more work, but keep
For
going.
us, yeah, it is. So it says, imagine you are Merton and it's time for your 9 a.m. meeting with Tevins and Harris. What position would you advocate in that meeting?
Oh, is this the part where
This is, it says fire Stepansick? I don't even know how to say that.
Yeah, so I'm for firing the guy because I think that you need to set an example.
Mm-hmm.
And if he knew that the safety hazards that he was putting that man in, and he's in a leadership position, just let that by. They're not going to have any. If they keep him, then no one else is going to respect the rules, and you're going to have more problems.
No, totally. I feel like if they don't, I'm 100% with you on that one. I feel like if they don't fire him, then it's just kind of like, it's kind of like in parenting when you let your one kid do something and then the other kid's like, okay, but you let blah, blah, blah do that. It's not like consistent.
It kind of stinks though, because I mean, it's just one incident, but I feel like at the same time, he was being sort of defiant, so.
Yeah. What do you think, Brenton?
Well, I just think that if they don't get rid of him, it just sends a message that they don't really care about that, about safety in the workplace.
Yeah. So what did we'll just call him Step because I seriously don't know how to say his name. What did Step actually do and how serious was the offense? And do you guys think it was all his fault?
What did he actually do?
I mean, from what I remember, I did the reading on like Monday night. It was like later. I just remember it being like a work hazard related thing.
It says that the supervisor had one of the electricians fix a problem with one of the cells without following procedures. And the person who fixed the problem ended up getting.
Okay. Do you guys think that it's all his fault?
I don't know. It just depends on like yes and no, because he had the ability to choose, but from the case study, it kind of sounded like that was like a cultural norm within the organization, if that makes sense. So it's like
no, it totally does.
It sounds like something that like a lot of people were doing, and this was the instance where somebody got hurt, and so I don't know. It kind of sucks that that was the case, but I mean, he did have his agency and he knew the rules, and so it's like a matter of like you are held accountable for telling somebody to do something that was unsafe.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is that maybe earlier in the article it talked about them having a time crunch as far as meeting their quota or whatever. And so oftentimes I feel like safety is put on the back burner whenever there's something needs to be done quick. That's really the only reason I can think that he would even suggest that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Totally.
And so following up, what are the implications for workers, families, supervisors, and senior management if he is fired?
The implications?
So, sorry, repeat the question for me so I can get it.
So it says, what are the implications for workers, families, supervisors, and senior management if he is fired?
I think the implications for like senior management is it shows that they're not going to mess around when it comes to safety. And then it also shows the other employees that the higher ups kind of mean business. And then for the families, like I would assume like it could go both ways, like, cause it could be like, well, if I was the family member of somebody that was like, required to be more safe, like I would be happy because I know that like if my, I'm not gonna, I assume Sarah's not gonna pick up a job, of manufacturing metal anytime soon, but if she did, I'd feel safer knowing that she's going to a place that cares about safety.
Mm-hmm. So what message would firing him send?
I think to people, oh, go ahead, Catherine.
I was gonna say no tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that like it sends a message that like if you were gonna do things and break the rules and not be considerate of like the guidelines given, then you shouldn't be working for that specific company.
Sorry, I cut you off, Brennan.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was going to say exactly what you were saying. Like it sends the message that like A, we mean business, and B, this is important to us and it should be important to you.
So do you think it would be fair to fire Step considering how other supervisors treated safety issues?
See, that's kind of what I was talking about. Like it sounds like it was kind of a cultural thing. And in addition to like firing this dude, if they were to get rid of him, they should, address this. I mean, if they're aware of it, obviously, but they should address it and say, hey, we just let this person go, but the reality is all of you are guilty of this, and you guys need to fix what's going on, or we're going to have to continue to have issues with this.
So now we're going to talk about like the safety issues at the plant, and you're going to want to look at the data to really understand what the issues are for Mission Valley.
Okay.
So this is where I'm supposed to put you in. That was weird. So since there's only 3 of us and I'm leading, so it'll be you two. So you're supposed to compare exhibits 3 and 7 to answer the question, when safety improves, does productivity decrease? And then you find the data.
Okay.
So it's saying you're supposed to divide the total hours number for each period by the work's total for the same period to figure out how many hours it takes to produce 1 ton of aluminum. And the smaller the number, the more productive the plant is.
So we're looking at 2 and 3, exhibit 2 and 3, or just 3?
I'm looking at 7. That has total work averages. I'm not sure what that one is.
It's exhibit 7. I don't know if I can. I'm trying to find it.
Okay.
Because I have exhibit 7. It says total work averages, and it has 1986, 88, 89, 90, 91, 90. Anyways, and it looks like.
Can you repeat how to do the calculation again?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it says divide the total hours number for each period by the work's total for the same period to figure out how many hours it takes to produce 1 ton of aluminum.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Okay. Divide the total hours number for each period by the work's total for the same period to figure out how many hours it takes to produce 1 ton of aluminum.
Okay.
So I'm not sure I'm doing this right. How's it coming along for you, Catherine?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm really confused.
So I came up with like 0.45 and 0.55, but I don't know if that's right. Between August, like August 91 and
Yeah.
1987. So I'm gonna pull up the instructions really quick. If we can make it a little bit easier on myself. So I apologize. Also, I'm kind of tired right now. I just got
No,
done
you're good.
taking an exam, so I'm pretty wiped out right now.
No, I totally feel you on that one.
Did you take the midterm?
Yeah, I took the midterm and then I took Sister Roberts' test today.
All Monday?
No, I took the midterm yesterday,
Okay.
but I had to cram for the Sister Roberts test.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to pull up the leader instructions really quick so I
Okay.
can look at that formula and
No,
then
you're good. It's kind of confusing to me as well. It gives an example. So it's saying like in 1987, it was 7400.0 divided by 185.4 equals 39.9 hours per ton. So the smaller the number, the more productive the plant is.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps. Because a lot of these questions, well, at least for this section, you're looking at exhibits and looking at the data.
Okay. Yeah, that's really confusing.
Oh, okay.
So are we working off of Exhibit 7?
Yeah, that's what it's saying. You're
Okay.
comparing exhibit 3 and 7.
3 and 7? Oh, 3 and 7. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay. So let me redo this then.
Where do you get, like, in the example problem, where does the 185.4 come from?
It comes from example or number 3, Exhibit 3. And so let's do 204,
Oh.
212, 209. So I'm going to run those 3 and see what we come up with. Prep. Where do they come up with 7400? Do you know?
That's just an example because it's comparing that to the data from 1987.
So it's the total hours divided by the works total.
I'm looking at the exhibit right now, and I'm also awful at math, so
Well, I just don't understand where they came up with that 7400 because there's no work hours. I mean, there's 5.4 work hours.
Under Exhibit 3, the total
Mhm.
hours.
See total hours. Oh, okay. So I'm doing that wrong. Okay, so that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
So we're not working off of 7. I think we're working off of 3.
Yeah, so you do the division first in Exhibit 3, and then
Mm-hmm.
you go down to Exhibit 7.
Yeah.
Okay. It's coming together.
Feel like Cusco from from that one. The Emperor's New Groove.
Emperor's New Groove. Yeah.
It's all coming together. Okay,
It's a good movie.
that's a good movie.
We're done. Can we just do it for 1 year and call it good?
Yeah.
Because it's taking a
Yeah.
long time.
So
No, that's totally fine.
I've got 2 of them. Let me grab one more and we'll see what you're coming up with here. 7, 4, 7, 5 divided by 209. So they are going down as
Yeah.
you move upward, but I don't know what that necessarily what that means because you said lower is better, right?
So they're being more.
Yeah, the smaller the number, the more productive it's saying the plant would be.
Which
So
I mean,
it's-
that makes sense.
yeah. So yeah, it looks like they're getting lower because for 1998, I think it was 37, and then I'm not doing decimals or anything like that. But then for 1989, it was 36, and then for 1990, it was 35. And so they're getting the numbers getting smaller, and so it sounds like they're getting more productive as
Yeah.
it gets safer.
91 is 34.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense, like Catherine was saying. Like if you're safer and you have more regulations, you're going to probably be more productive, and you won't have people getting injured and taken out of the process.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because I mean, one of the examples that it gave in the case was after that guy died, they wanted them to slow down with the machines, and they're like, oh, that's gonna drop our productivity, but because of that, you have less people that are gonna be out for being injured.
Yeah.
There's less things that can go wrong with the machines, so you don't have to fix them. Just
Yeah.
So do you feel like, I feel like that's moving in the right direction, or that's I don't know how else we would do it, because that sounds right to me. Do you guys feel comfortable with me moving forward, or do we want to keep working on this same question?
No, I think that's it. I think we nailed it. It looks like the productivity was increasing as in it. It sounds like their measures for safety were increasing as well. And so whatever they were doing was working.
Okay. So now it's saying look at Exhibit 5 and figure out which injury numbers are improving, which means going down, and which are not, or in which are going up.
which injuries are going up?
And down. So they want you to figure out which injury numbers are improving, which means going down, and which are going up, which I guess would be not an improvement.
So if I'm looking at this correctly, I don't see a single one that's not going down. Oh, but then again, these are for the months. Let me look at this again. So the failure to secure is staying fairly stable.
And then it wants you guys to categorize the types of injuries that are improving compared with the types that are not.
So it looks like improper positions not really improving.
Mm-hmm.
So improper
Secure.
failure to secure. So it sounds like those are the two that I see is improper position and then failure to secure, which I think would like, I'm assuming they're talking about when they're moving the metal, they're
Mm-hmm.
not strapping it and they're not putting it in the right places. And I would assume that's for the sake of like maintaining like that high level of productivity, like, oh, let's get this over to where it needs to go as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where I'm seeing the theme there.
Yeah.
And then the general housekeeping it improves, like it's dropping for sure, but I feel like it could be better.
Yeah.
And so like just their general like ability to like clean and stuff like that.
Catherine, what do you think?
I agree. I think I don't really see any that are
Increasing.
significantly.
Yeah, I don't either.
Besides something being used unsafely or congestion. So what was the second question?
Just like the difference between the two groups, like if
Mhm.
they were grouped into stuff. So I don't know, it sounds like as far as using equipment, it looks like they're doing a really good job, you know. And like I said, I think that it almost looks like they're trying to move things quickly. If it's talking about failure to secure an improper position, you know, they're just trying to do the best with what they've got.
Mhm.
And looking at the difference between contributing conditions versus action, like that seems to me that either has to do with their environment or things that the employees are doing themselves. And it's slightly higher on contributing action, which I guess there's not much you can do about that as far as the environment, but just better training,
Yeah.
getting rid of that culture.
So moving on to, yeah, okay. This is frustrating because you're supposed to be into three groups, and then each of these three groups go over group 1, group 2, group 3. But since there's only 3 of us, we have to do all of it.
Well,
Nice.
I mean, or we could just skip the group 3 because I feel like we did group 1. Like that question took a long time, so I would be okay with skipping group 3 because it's supposed to be like split up between like 6 people.
I'm cool with that.
Okay. So, you guys are going to explain your findings to me. So, the first group should discover that as safety goes down, the number of hours to produce a ton also go down. So, in other words, as safety improves over the long run, productivity also improves. So, are you guys surprised? Did you think that productivity would go down with increased safety? And why do you think productivity actually goes up?
Well, I'm happy right now because we were right. So,
Yeah, you
no, I'm
guys
just
were.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
No,
So,
I would be as well.
but that does surprise me honestly, because in my mind, like safety like requires like extra effort to like maintain it and everything like that.
Yeah.
And so you'd think that if you have to put more time and effort into making the environment safe, that your productivity would decline. But it
Mhm.
obviously shows that safety is like a big part of productivity, which is kind of cool.
Totally.
I don't know. It seems like the underlying principle is that, if you do things unsafely, or kind of in a quick manner and skip over things, then it may be faster short term, but the
Mhm.
long term results is where it's really going to kill you.
Totally.
Really.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. And so, oh, okay. So what type of problem did you think was the easiest to solve? The ones that are expensive or the ones that involves people behavior, and why?
I think like Catherine kind of pointed out, I thought it was a good observation on that last little tidbit, because it's like, it talks about how, if you're trying to make the area or the environment safer, that's like a pretty easy thing. Like, you just pay for, whatever equipment you need in order to make that happen.
Uh-huh.
The hard part is the culture, like the training and all that stuff, because you have, a group of people, like trade jobs just attract those individuals that, like it said in the case study, they like the bruises, they like the hands, they kind of, that's part of what defines them as a worker is, oh, my job is dangerous, and, I get hurt and bruised on the job, and they like that. And
Mhm.
so that culture, I mean, that's just inherent. And that's like the hardest part to address, because you're not going to take a bunch of trade workers and convince them that safety is cool, because in their mind it just goes counter to like everything they've been taught from when they were just this big,
Yeah.
this big.
And Catherine, what challenges are Mission Valley up against?
What do you mean? Hello?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about the question.
It just says what, so like, I guess you both could answer, like, what challenges are Mission Valley up against? And I think it's asking as like a power plant, or, like as a company, like what challenges do they still have to face, and how are they going to be able to deal with that?
Oh, well, I think Brennan covered it pretty well, that they have a culture that they're fighting against.
Mhm.
And I think there's always that pressure to meet deadlines, and so I think that that can impact changes that they're trying to make in the future.
Yeah. So moving on, so now we're going to talk about Mission Valley past success versus future challenge. I cannot speak, sorry. Challenges. So what has Mission Valley done in the past to improve its safety record so much that they have so few serious injuries compared with other similar companies?
I think the first one is like, when they have issues, like obviously accidents are going to happen, but when those accidents do happen, they don't remain like passive in the process. Like, they actively seek out, what are ways that we can improve this specific issue, and then they work to train around that and make it a safer environment. And so I think that's probably the underlying theme in as far as that stuff goes.
Mm-hmm. And Catherine, what are some specific things that they have done that are successful?
Well, I think the CEO set a really good example. I think one of the first things he said was, we're going to treat these incidences when there is an accident, we're going to associate it with like the person's name rather than a number. And so
I
I
like that.
by making
Yeah.
it more personal, I think that they're more motivated to find solutions,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So will doing more of those things help them to move the rest of the way towards their goal?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And what do you think what are the challenges for the future?
I'm trying to think of different challenges, different ones than we've already talked about, but I know that, I don't know, I keep kind of coming back to the culture as being like the number one challenge, because obviously they have the means to do it. Training might be an obstacle that they would kind of run into, good training. And then like, I guess, now that I'm thinking, like one obstacle that they might run into is making it like meaningful. Like if it's like a robotic process where everybody's required to do a certain thing or whatever, be at a certain training, like people are just not going to internalize that very well. And so they need to find a creative way to make those trainings on safety meaningful to each of the people that are working there.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So just like on a more personal note, do you guys always follow safety procedures? So you can just answer like yes or no. So do you always wear seatbelts?
Nope.
No.
Oh, that's bad. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you guys an example because I was actually thinking about how terrible of a person I am. But for like 3 years, I worked for an electrician, and you're supposed to turn off the power running to the electrical stuff that you're working on because it's dangerous. If you don't, you can get shocked. But you get to a certain point where you can kind of like work around the wires. You have like a little wire nut, and you'll like have two wires, and you'll do the wire nut around it. But you get good enough to the point where you just work stuff, and it's hot. And one time I was working like some really high voltage stuff, and I clipped through it because I thought it was dead, and so I clipped through this wire, and it like like exploded,
Oh
and
my gosh.
I almost got shocked pretty bad. But that's the thing, is like when you just work, you get lax. It's just like anything else, and it doesn't. You gotta. It's like a humility thing. Like either you can work and stay humble, or your electricity is gonna humble you by shocking the crap out of you. So.
Yeah.
Way to think about it.
So do you avoid texting in dangerous places?
Nope.
No.
Do you cross at crosswalks?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It's really dangerous here, I feel like.
Drive the speed limit?
I do drive the speed limit.
So, what would get you to change your behavior on wearing seatbelts and avoid texting in dangerous places?
I don't really know, because I know that I don't really text and drive very often. At least I try not to. And I don't know why I don't wear my seatbelt, because I know that they definitely save lives. But I think it's kind of one of those humility things where it's either like kind of check yourself or reap the consequences. But I think typically it takes like a pretty impactful experience, like a death of a loved one or something like that, for it to really set in that this is an issue. Because everybody, for whatever reason, thinks they're the exception to the rule. I don't know if you guys have found that, but everybody else thinks that everybody around them is vulnerable, but I'm not. And I think that's the reason why those things are so hard to overcome.
Yeah. So now we're going to move the discussion toward Linda's plan for 1992. So we're just going to go through each item on this list and talk like briefly about each item. Okay. So the first question is, which ones will help the company get to its goal?
So let me see if I can. Do you know where that's at? Do you know what page that's on?
I don't have that pulled up, but I can look.
Okay.
Let me see.
Because I know they have that 8-step plan.
Yeah.
Is that what it's referring to, or is it a different one?
I think so. I'm just trying to see where
Well, I remember one of her plans was to have the first line managers really know the procedure.
Yeah, I think that's what it's referring to. I can't find the article.
It's on page 4.
Okay.
Of which one? The
workplace safety.
Safety. Okay, that's what I thought.
Oh, is this under Mission Valley's management?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
only thing I can think of.
Okay.
No, it's safety at Mission Valley. And that's on page 5.
Oh.
Because we're talking about Linda Merton.
Okay.
So stating.
Wait, so is this talking about what they did to prevent anybody else from dying the same way the other guy did? What's the question?
It's the question is what, like, for her plan, which ones will help the company get to its goal? Because it just wants to know which ones will help the company get there and which ones won't help, and then what is missing from the list.
Well, I don't know exactly. I'm trying to find like little things that they did to help improve, like specific examples, but I don't know where those are at. But the thing that I talked about was implementing like this is like a summary, but they talked about implementing the procedure and then like seeing whether or not it worked. And so I think moving forward, they just like they should see like areas where they think that it'll be improved. They should implement those things, and then they're already keeping track of all the things that they've started. And so it's just a matter of like, okay, is this doing what it's supposed to be doing? And if it's just a waste of time and nobody's gaining from it anyways, then let's quit wasting our money and put that effort somewhere else. And I think it's just kind of that little process of finding where things are working, where they're not, and then monitoring that and then making adjustments accordingly.
Perfect. So now we're just going to brainstorm ideas for how to change culture and attitudes about safety at Mission Valley. So some suggestions are like, do you guys think that the fact that almost everyone in the whole town works at Mission Valley creates any opportunities? And do you think there are more ways that we could involve like the community or families?
Subliminal messaging. Just kidding.
Yeah, that's funny.
I think in reference to the first part of the question, says like whether or not the whole town, like I think that since it is the whole town working together, that they're more likely to know each other and like kind of be involved in each other's lives and stuff like that. And if things do happen, they can talk about kind of exploit the fact that like a family member and a friend and a coworker, all those things was injured due to like the safety issues or whatever that they weren't, following. And then that'll kind of, I think that kind of hits like home on that more meaningful level is like, okay, this person was hurt because of the lack of preparation, on because of this, and this is why we should address it moving forward. And that way it's not just like Catherine had said, it's not just a number getting hurt. This is our friend, our family member, our coworker that was hurt, and this is why we need to make sure that we're not doing those same things.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I totally agree. So what did you learn from talking about this case that would apply to future workplaces?
Rules.
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing is like it pays to be safe. Not only like like Catherine was saying, like not necessarily so much in the short run, it seems like sometimes, but definitely in the long run. And I mean, really at the end of the day, like a person's life is far more valuable than productivity, and it's a win-win. So there's no reason not to be involved in safety.
No, I agree with you. So that wraps it up for this little discussion. This is an interesting one. But I feel like all of the readings this week were really interesting. Like they have to do with things we're gonna have to deal with in the workplace.
Definitely. I love the motivation stuff. I think that stuff is pretty
Yeah,
neat.
I did too. So I will send out an invitation for the Google Doc tonight, and then we can just add to it. If
Okay.
we can like have everything like done by Sunday night, that would be great. It's just so that I can submit it Sunday night.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely do that. I'll try to, I'm going to be traveling this weekend again, but I will do my best to have it to you probably either Saturday night or Sunday morning.
Okay, perfect. And
So,
if you guys could help me with the conclusion and introduction, that'd be good also, because I have a 5-page research paper and a psych test to take
okay,
and another project due all on Saturday. So
gotcha.
I'm feeling a little overwhelmed with all of these things I have to do.
Definitely. No, Catherine and I just had that same situation. We had a freaking killer midterm and some stuff like that. By the way, Catherine, how'd that go?
I didn't see my exam, but I felt like I did. Honestly, I felt like the place that I was weakest in was in the multiple choice. I felt like the essays and the fill in the blank were not that bad.
Yeah, the fill in the blanks weren't terrible. I was a little bit bummed about the true and false was where it got me, I think. So, but yeah, no, we'll do whatever we can to help you out, Ali. Honestly, the introduction and conclusion aren't really that rough. The key idea, I don't know if you guys remember that from this last one.
Uh-huh.
That's the one that that we need to tackle, and I don't mind doing that by any means. But does anybody want to do that?
I can do the introduction and conclusion.
Okay. Yeah, if you're cool with that, what I can do, if you want to tackle intro and
I can
conclusion.
add to it as well.
Okay. Because I'll take care of the whatever section for the I can't remember what it's even over right now off the top of my head, but I'll take care of that, and I'll take care of like the key idea, the one that we want to focus on for the case study. So if you guys have any ideas for the key idea, just send it to me.
Okay.
Will do. Yeah, so I will send out an invitation after I get back tonight, and then we can just go from there and just touch base this weekend.
Cool.
Okay, have a good rest of your week, guys.
Yeah, thanks for working so hard, guys. We'll see you this upcoming week, okay?
Thanks for the
Sounds good.
discussion. Bye.
Oh,
Yep.
also, wait, before I forget, I am gone next week. I'm at a family reunion till Thursday. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure I get back at like 5 o'clock, so it would work for me to do it at the same time on Thursday, but I'll keep you guys in the loop. I just
Cool.
need to look at my flight.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Okay, I'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.